Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The gentlelady yields back. So I recognize myself for my questions. So the first thing I want to just say is I appreciate the testimony. There's a bit this. When I first got in, I thought to Congress, I thought we really need to do this because I in my law practice, people said, "Why'd you go into politics?" I said, "Because most of my clients had been abused by just the regulations." So let's see here. I'm going to ask all of you this question before, and I want you to think about it because I appreciate all of you have produced in your documents and in your testimony today some reform movement that you think we should do. I want each one of you to give us the lowest hanging fruit because that's always the easiest for Congress to do. You know, as I like to say, I'm willing to do. It was the least I can do. I'm always happy to do the least I can do. So that's kind of the Congress's attitude on this. So we want to do that. So I'm going to ask each of you to do that. But in speaking to that, I also want us to focus on really what Congress can do because we have actually been derelict in our duty, in my opinion, and that's the problem. And we need now to be active. And I know that. And you don't say the mens rea thing because we all agree on the mens rea thing, okay? So I need something else besides the mens rea issue, okay? So, Ms. Tylick, you had, I think, about 20 different reforms that you put in yours. So if you can just give me your top one, your number one, that'd be good.
I don't know if it's the lowest hanging fruit, but I do think ending the exception in the 13th Amendment is a critical step for our country. And in the 250th year anniversary that's coming, I would say that.
Okay, you're right. That may not be the lowest hanging fruit.
Okay, make phone calls free in federal prisons permanently. You already did it in the CARES Act. We can just make it permanent policy.
Okay, that may be the lowest hanging fruit, but I'll take a look at your other proposal there. Thank you, Ms. Tylick. Mr. Tolman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would very strongly urge, you've obviously talked about mens rea, everybody understands that passage alone would be the largest Band-Aid until you could deregulate. And so I would then say deregulation and if you do have, President Trump put in place, if you're going to pass a regulation, you've got to get rid of two. And whatever you think about it, that was really good governance. And the Congress forcing the agencies to do that would probably be the most important thing they could do immediately.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McLaughlin, Dr. McLaughlin.
So I agree with Mr. Tolman. The changing the incentives of regulatory agencies to review their own regulations, the old ones, to identify duplication or contradiction. And you could accomplish that through a regulatory budget, such as the 1 in, 2 out, or other means as well. I think that's the lowest hanging fruit. Make agencies review their own rules and get rid of ones that aren't effective.
Thank you, Doctor. Mr. Patel.
I would associate myself with those, so I'll take a slightly different tact. I think there are a couple of bills before Congress right now that might really be interesting, that do things to ameliorate for folks who are already incarcerated or reentering back into society some of the burdens that we've talked about here today. The first would be the Federal Prison Oversight Act, which came out of the Oversight Committee, I think maybe unanimously, but overwhelmingly for sure, bipartisan support. I think there's also a bill called the Safer Supervision Act, which would help before this committee, which would help incentivize moving folks who are compliant, who've served their term and are compliant with their terms of their release into society more quickly so we can focus on the more dangerous folks still within the system. And the other would be the Clean Slate Act, which we mentioned. We were talking about the host of collateral consequences that we have, that for lower level offenders who have committed nonviolent crimes, that you would seal their record after they commit complete their sentence and complete their supervision without committing new crimes. You'd seal their record so that it'd be easier for them to get housed, to get licensure, to get a job and things like that, and reenter back into community. Once again, removing them out of the criminal justice system so that we can refocus our criminal justice system on the most dangerous. And really, I'd love to see something done with clearance rates, which are really quite low.
Thank you. And I'll just say that a couple things that I've thought of, and I appreciate your suggestion that some of these things need to move to civil penalties. And I couldn't help but think of the ranking member's discussion of the explosion in Texas City, is that where it was? Texas City. There was no reason, quite frankly, in my mind, for the feds to get involved. You could have prosecuted the execs who had overt violations of safety regs for manslaughter, at least, and you could also have facilitated civil rewards, which is actually really what you needed when people are maimed or killed, is in my opinion. So that's one thing. The other one is maybe, and I'm really reticent to believe that bureaucratic institutions are going to give up their power base. I really don't think that's where they want to go. So maybe Congress needs to, every time, take a real good look at the rule-making process, because that's how these things occur. Number two is maybe Congress, like we do with constitutionality, you have to put something on a bill that's constitutional. You have to go in and say, maybe whether you intend or don't intend for there to be some kind of criminal punishment involved with it as well. Just another thing for Congress to do. Anyway, I appreciate all the testimony. A lot to come out of this. I think this is, I think it's actually a very complex issue that has some simple solutions in part that we need to take those first steps. And so I appreciate all your testimony today. Thank you. And with that, we are adjourned.